There we go. Looks like we're connecting. And we're live. Beautiful. Alright, cool. Well, holy cow, I don't think anybody's watching yet, but for the VOD later, welcome to Paleontologizing, everybody. It's good to have you here. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. And I'm here on Twitch trying to do some good old-fashioned science outreach. Streaming live from the field right now via satellite out in western Wyoming. And we are digging up what will almost certainly be a new species of dinosaur over there. We've got a duckbill hadrosaur. Got some really, really nice elements from it. We've got the skull here, and yeah, just got a few days left to dig this thing out, so it's crunch time now. But luckily we've got a lot of people in there in the quarry, and it's kind of a too many cooks sort of situation, which is why I'm over here streaming. Trying to bring this to all of you, show you what it's like to actually dig up dinosaurs in the field. Dr. Irrefutable, welcome, welcome. Tommy Ploticus, Max Tavo, Mia Miyakota, Rat Acid, Homer Simpson 00, Acornica. How are you doing, everybody? It's good to have you here. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Gonna wait for a few more people to trickle in before we go over there and see the quarry and meet the rest of the crew. But yeah, hello Doki Doki and Izzy. Welcome, welcome. Good to have you here. Yeah, another exciting day in the field. Those of you who weren't here last time, we're at, not the same site we were at yesterday, different site. This one's called Skull Ridge because we're at the top of a big ridge over here. But we're in the late Cretaceous Almond Formation. Obscure geological formation in western Wyoming. So it's late Campanian, almost up to the beginning of the Maastrichtian. So about 73 to maybe 71 million years ago, something like that. Back when this area was like a coastal floodplain. And yeah, the ocean was just out there to the east. We're now at like 7,000 feet of elevation, but back then this was sea level. So a lot can change in 70 million years. That's for sure. Loonisaurus, how are you doing? Ali Jew, Little Teresa, Marco, A-Rod, welcome everybody. It is good to have you here. Let me know if you've got any questions. This is going to be a very Q&A heavy stream, I think, so don't be shy with those questions. Just found this oyster knife in my pocket. And I'm going to go put that with the rest of my tools over here. But this is the reason that we're able to stream from such a remote locale. We've got solar power. A panel, and a solar generator, and it's linked up to our Starlink there. So we are broadcasting via satellite from remote Wyoming. But yeah, A-Rod says one of the most interesting streams on Twitch. I really appreciate you saying so, A-Rod. Thank you. Yeah. And Fall Machine, hey to you too. Welcome. Hogan698. How are things going with you? It's good to have you here. And Trappy Jenkins. Hello. How are you doing? Yeah. So yeah, we're just waiting for some more people to trickle in. And yeah, this is a morning stream. It's going to be a busy day today. I might even do 2 streams today. Yeah, we will have to see if I can also stream from the T-Bone site when we head there later today. But it's all hands on deck over here. We've got to make sure that we get these elements jacketed. And, yeah, getting ready to extract tomorrow. So that we can get some important skull bones of this dinosaur out of the ground and have them all safely packed for their journey back to the laboratory. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, like I said, don't be shy with those questions. And It's Evolution, how are you doing? Welcome back. It's good to have you here. Yeah, we're going to be talking about evolution a good deal today, I suspect. So yeah, good stuff. Again, just as a little refresher for anybody who wasn't here earlier. Oh, well, we got our first question. Loonisaurus says, is there sexual dimorphism among dinosaurs? It's been really, really difficult to find. Yeah, which is not altogether surprising. By the way, sexual dimorphism is when the male of a species looks different from the female. And that could be different coloration, it could be, different shape, different size, different whatever. But it's just differences between the males and the females. We have not been able to really find that in dinosaurs so far, reliably. It's almost impossible to tell a male from a female non-avian dinosaur. They may have differed only in size, like we see in modern birds. Yeah, some colleagues of mine did a project looking at the pelvises of modern birds because they expected maybe the female bird has a wider pelvic aperture for eggs. Turned out not to be the case. Bird males and females are like skeletally identical, it seems. They vary in terms of their plumage, color of their feathers and stuff, and in terms of their size. So maybe dinosaurs were the same way. Maybe males and females were different sizes, and maybe they had different coloration too. But we've not been able to reliably tell male from female dinosaurs just based on their skeletal morphology alone. So yeah. And yeah. Mia Miyakota says, this is really one of the most interesting Twitch streams ever. It's so exciting to witness something that I've always wanted to do, but just isn't realistically something I can do. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm sending this stream to everyone I know. I really appreciate that, Mia. Thank you. That's why I'm doing this, you know? That's one of the most common questions I get is like, what is it like to dig dinosaurs? And rather than just telling you, now I can show you. So it's such a privilege to be able to share this with you. And yeah. An early stream today, yes indeed, Thalo. I might even do a stream in the afternoon too, we'll have to see. But yeah, Rel Jenkins, good to have you here. Hello. And what skull is being dug up today? That of a duckbill dinosaur, a hadrosaur. Probably the biggest dinosaur in this formation, and this would have been a big critter, like maybe 40 feet long. So, yeah, exciting stuff. I'll go show you in a minute. And space is fake. What a funny username. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Thanks for joining us for some science outreach today. You know, I think so many people don't really get enough science in their lives. This is my way of trying to remedy that in some small way, doing what I can to show you how scientists actually work. What do we actually do in the field? So yeah. Anywho, yeah, Melinderp, how are you doing? Golganak, hope you had a great birthday yesterday, Golganak. It's great to see you. Welcome back. Yeah. And more science. Yes, indeed, MS Coggins. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Anyway, shall we venture over and take a look at the quarry? Over there, let's go do it. Yeah. Hey, Cactus Jack, welcome back. Good to have you here. Yeah. Oh, I got a butterfly flying through. I've only seen those white butterflies so far. Wonder what kind they are. Alright, let's take a look at the quarry. So here's the crew. Pretty full crew today over here at Skull Ridge. So Quinn and Fisher and Ethan. Elena just joined us last night. She's the bandit there. And yeah, then we've got Logan and Eric here also.
What's up, chat?
So yeah, right here we're digging up the skull of a duck-billed dinosaur. Ethan, do you want to do a little spiel on that maybe? You're our fearless leader here.
This is the skull of a duck-billed dinosaur. It has many components, some of which are present here. One of these is the lower right chewing apparatus known as the dentary bone.
Yeah.
You will see
lower
Fisher's
jaw.
skinny little toothbrush inhabiting the vacuities known as the dental alveoli, inside of which the teeth would have fit. The anterior, or front part, of the lower jaw is where Fisher is pointing right now. The posterior, or back part of this lower jaw, is where Fisher is currently pointing with his brush right now.
Yeah.
As you will see, the specimen is almost entirely encrusted within roots.
Ethan doesn't normally talk like this.
Do you know any other fancy words?
White, black, this is bone, this is roots.
Those are modern roots, like from modern plants.
Modern
that are trying
roots.
to drink up those minerals.
Pesky little plants.
Yeah, and you'll see some of those roots around here throughout the quarry.
Real
This is-
paleontologists hate plants.
Messy, complicated work. And yeah, we definitely hate plants in the quarry, unless they're fossil plants.
Even then.
But yeah, even that can be pretty annoying sometimes. We've got a lot of fossil plant material from this side also. But yeah. And then up here we've got a bunch more skull fragments. I think a lot of people are surprised to learn that there are multiple bones in a skull, because, you know, we're mammals and we tend to have pretty solidly fused skulls. Dinosaurs, their skull architecture was a lot different, you know. Big old windows, what we call fenestrae in the skull, big openings. to help save weight. And as a result, their skulls disarticulate pretty easily, probably more so than that of most mammals. So it's pretty rare to find a dinosaur skull that's all, like intact, articulated. And here we don't have that. This has been disarticulated and there's pieces everywhere. But like Ethan was saying the other day, that's kind of exciting because you get to see certain angles of certain skull bones that you wouldn't get to see if the whole thing were just together. So, even though it might not be as pretty to have a disarticulated skull, it might be easier to actually study. So, yeah.
We may have a new skull bone here.
Ooh, yeah.
This little frosted flake here is maybe the quadratojugal bone, which is an irregular, sort of flat, curved bone that articulates with the cheek and the bone that connects the lower jaw to the skull.
Nice.
And so this is in roughly the right position, so it means it might have not slipped out too far from the lower jaw. So that means in this, where I'm sitting, we may find more little bits from this region of the skull.
Nice, that's exciting.
Yeah.
And that's new as of yesterday, right?
Yesterday.
I don't remember that from the last time I was here. I was working the other site yesterday. Which, if we're lucky, maybe I'll stream from there today, too. So, yeah. So space can be at a premium in a quarry like this when you've got a big crew, and it's one of the reasons that I don't feel guilty for streaming right now rather than, helping dig. But, yeah. Science outreach is important, and, we would not be here in this capacity right now if it were not for the generous support of you viewers who helped us fundraise for this. So, holy cow. You helped make this happen, everybody, so thank you.
Thank you, viewers.
Yeah.
Let's go, viewers.
Yeah.
Let's go, Raiders.
Oh, Melonderp's got a good question. Speaking of skulls and their holes, any opinion on turtles and where they possibly fall in the evolutionary tree with the dinosaurs?
Danny?
Yeah, that's actually been a matter of contention. So for a long time we thought turtles belonged to a group called Anapsida, like no holes in the skull. But that was kind of like a wastebasket group, and yeah, now we think that the turtles might actually be like stem archosaurs or something like that. Archosauromorphs or Archosauriformes. So they might be kind of on the same line to dinosaurs. They diverge before crocodiles do. So crocodiles would be closer to dinosaurs than turtles.
Think about their eggs.
Yeah.
Turtles have kind of hard, fragile eggs like you'd see in archosaurs, whereas other reptiles like lizards and snakes have soft, leathery eggs.
Yeah, yeah.
As do the egg-laying mammals, monotremes.
That's an interesting point, yeah. Although, we now think that the basal-most dinosaurs laid leathery eggs, don't we?
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was that paper that came out in 2020 looking at the eggs of Massospondylus, I think.
Huh.
And then also ceratopsians are now thought to have laid leathery eggs also, which is maybe why their eggs are so rare. Like, we didn't actually have ceratopsian eggs until, like, 2020 or something like that. So, yeah. Anyway, it's complicated like many things are in science, but exciting. Yeah. Who do?
Well, pterosaurs.
They had leathery eggs, too?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
go into the idea that
That might be something that's basal to Ornithodira, yeah. Yeah. But yeah. And, anyway, yeah. Do you just brush and brush until you uncover it all? Asks Coodstar. I mean, that's... Yeah. And you use small hand tools to pick away at the rock also, like Fisher's doing right there. In this big block in the center, there's a bunch of disarticulated skull bits in that. And we might try and jacket most of that today, so that we can get that out safely. But yeah, thanks for pointing, Elena. There's little bits of skull coming out. Right here, right there. You can see that distinct bone texture. Right here, too. So every single scrap of this is going to be important because it's all part of the skull. And the skull is the most informative part of the dinosaur. If you're going to get any part of the dinosaur, you want the skull. So we got very lucky here. That's why we've been hitting this site so hard. The other site that I've been working at, the T-bone site, we've got like a couple scraps of skull from around the bend, but most of the big stuff we've been working on is limb bones. And those are cool, but they don't tell you as much as a skull does. They're not as scientifically informative. Yeah. And, but yeah. And let's see. I think that's true, yeah. Not all turtle eggs are hard. I think some turtles have kind of leathery eggs. Yeah. And Hogan says, what kind of vegetation do you find on fossils? You mentioned roots. Is that from recent field grasses? Yeah, from sagebrush and stuff like that. Whatever these things are. Is this... It's not sagebrush, that's something else. But yeah, you know, plants have a hard go of it out here. Western Wyoming is not the most hospitable place to be a plant. It tends to be very dry, and it's extremely cold during the winter, and it gets pretty darn hot during the summer. So, yeah. Takes some real, some real strength to make it out here as a plant. So yeah, lots of sagebrush like this. You even get cactus over here. So it's probably mostly sagebrush roots that are growing over the fossils. I'm trying to drink up some of those minerals, but yeah. There's prickly pear cactus, they're in bloom right now. And there's some lovely green bugs in there. Just having a grand old time during the brief bloom of the prickly pear. Yeah, I don't know what kind of beetle that is. Is it a beetle? You've got a better look than I do right now, chat. But yeah. Good stuff. Yeah, pollinators doing their work. Yeah, Mia, there you go. Yeah, very nice. And Mold, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Good to have you here. Looks like we've got 164 people watching right now. 15 minutes in. Pretty awesome. Yeah. Gojira says that's a green ground bee. Are you being earnest right now? It sounds almost too simple. But yeah. Looks like it has wings. But... yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. Making a living out here in the western Wyoming desert. So yeah. Road trip Russ, very funny. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Yeah. Esther, good to see you too. Welcome, welcome. And green ground bee, a legit thing. Awesome. Well, thank you, Gojira. Very knowledgeable. Yeah. So yeah. And bees are great, Cephalon Wolf. Pollinators in general. I'm a fan. Yeah. There are even... oh, shoot. There are even some modern dinosaurs now, today, in our year 2023, that are pollinators. Who will be the first to say what they are? Anybody, chat? What are some dinosaurian pollinators? But yeah. Oh, and Coodstar, thank you for repeating that from Agent Lion Live. Great question, Agent Lion. How quickly can you pick out a species as you are digging? Do you know right away, usually? It depends. In certain places, like when I used to work out in Montana in the Hell Creek Formation, it was pretty easy to tell usually what kind of critter you're digging right off the bat, because that's a really well-studied formation. And most of the dinosaurs that lived there have been named already, because people have been working those rocks for well over 100 years. Really since like the 1870s, I guess. Well, no, that would be the Lance of Wyoming, which is roughly equivalent. It would be, I don't know, over 100 years people have been working in the Hell Creek. You got your classic dinosaurs like T-Rex and Triceratops and Ankylosaurus, Pachycephalosaurus, Edmontosaurus. And so we already kind of know what the cast of characters is there. So if you find some good elements, you know, some good parts of a skeleton, you're going to be able to tell pretty quickly what you're dealing with. Because a lot of these guys, they've got very distinctive bone textures, so you might only need a few scraps to be able to tell what kind of dinosaur it is. And like be able to tell down to the genus or species level. Here in Wyoming, though, we're digging in the Almond Formation, which is very understudied. And there's not been a single dinosaur named from this formation. So anything we find here is going to be new. So we can't tell what genus or species it is because there are no genera or species that are named from this formation. Everything's going to be new. But we can usually tell what broad family of dinosaurs it belongs to. Is this a hadrosaur, a duckbill? Is this a tyrannosaur? Is this a ceratopsian, a horned dinosaur, etc.? based on the texture and the shape of the bones and that kind of thing. But there's always a few surprises, and you might misidentify something at first, because we're working out in the field, you know? Like, this is not a laboratory setting. It's not controlled conditions. Sometimes you can't actually remove all of the rock from a bone in order to be able to tell what it is, because that rock is helping hold it together. So you bring part of that back to the lab with you, and then later in the lab you can clean it off and see what you're dealing with. So I guess to answer your question, it depends. It gets complicated. But yeah, and yep, hummingbirds. There you go, everybody. Nice job. They are modern dinosaurian pollinators. Yes. And are there snakes in there, Mark Mondark? Yeah, we've seen a few snakes. They've all been gopher snakes so far. I haven't seen a single rattler so far this season, which is, I guess it's kind of reassuring in a way. So none of the snakes out here are venomous that we've seen so far. The only venomous snakes we get in this part of the world are rattlesnakes, and I've not seen one yet. But lots of gopher snakes. In fact, one of them, there was one down on the road over there, and it got run over by like an ATV or something, and it was dead in the middle of the road, so I picked her up and moved her off to the side, just kind of out of respect, I guess. Yeah, I really like snakes. I don't know about you, chat, but I really like snakes. And it's cool to see them. But yeah, I've not seen any up here yet. I don't think this is prime snake habitat at the top of this ridge. Yeah. But yeah. And Martin the Mountain Man says, do you know about that guy that has a boneyard in Alaska? Like an aircraft boneyard? If you do you know of the explanation of so many bones in one area? Oh, a bone bed is what you mean. Yeah. It depends what kind of critter it is. Are we talking about mammals? Or is this like Pleistocene deposits and they're mammoths? Are we talking about like a dinosaur bone bed or what? But bone beds can occur in a number of different ways. A bone bed basically is like you've got a bunch of different individual animals that all are buried in the same spot. So usually it's just like a jumble of bones, and they're often disarticulated. They often like fell apart. So it's just like, just a pile of bones of all kinds of different critters. Usually they're often the same critter. Like, I don't know. That's pretty common in dinosaurs to have just like a whole bunch of the same dinosaur in one spot. So in some cases that might be, these are a bunch of animals that tried to cross a river, and then a bunch of them got trampled or drowned, and then they're preserved there in the river sediments. It could be that they gathered, because like in a dry riverbed during a drought, and then when the rains finally came, all the ones that died of thirst or starvation, they were buried there. You get other things called predator traps, where like, usually like some sort of plant-eating animal walks in and gets stuck and dies there, and then predators and scavengers come to try and eat it, and then they get stuck. And then other ones try and come and eat them, and then they get stuck. That's a predator trap is what we call that. Should probably call it a scavenger trap, but whatever. Predator, scavenger, tomato, potato, oftentimes. There's a number of different ways that you can have bone beds like that. And sometimes it's just, like with Dinosaur National Monument up there in Utah, that was probably that there were just a bunch of dinosaurs living in this environment. Maybe there was a really bad drought year. And then when the spring rains finally came, like just this torrent of water tearing through, any dead dinosaurs that were there anywhere nearby just got washed downstream, and then many of them got stuck on like a sandbar or something, and they're just preserved there. So yeah. And is it more likely with herding species? It probably is, Cephalon Wolf, yeah. We do find a lot of... there are a lot of dinosaur bone beds where you get like multiple individuals all in the same spot. And we sometimes think that's evidence of sociality. Like these are animals that are social. They're living together in herds or groups or packs or whatever you want to call them. Yeah, we think dinosaurs were probably very social, just like modern birds are. Birds are often very, very social. And birds evolved from dinosaurs. That's where they got a lot of their cool traits, was from their dinosaur ancestors. That may be where they got their sociality, too. So yeah. How do we determine if a dinosaur traveled in herds from how close the remains are found together? I mean, yeah, Cephalon Wolf, that's one part of it. Yeah. I guess if you find a bunch of individuals of the same species together, that's some evidence that they were living in a group. Yeah. Yeah, like the tar pits in California. There you go. Yeah. And Coodstars is watching with my 3-month-old. Got to start her young. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff. Science. It's important. Yeah. Let's walk off in this direction. Oh, I saw a lizard go by. Maybe we can get some good lizard footage in a bit. But yeah. Oh, and trackways are definitely good for that too, Lenny. Now, how could I've forgotten? Sometimes we'll find, fossil footprints of dinosaurs from like multiple individuals all moving together in a group. So that can be some really good evidence that these animals were social too. Yeah. And Gary and Kellis, yes, early stream today. I might do an afternoon stream too. We'll have to see. Yeah, we'll go check in with the crew in just a minute here. Yeah. 205 viewers right now. That's excellent, especially for an early stream. Yeah. How are things going over here?
Good.
Nice.
Chipping away.
So I'd check in again. Let me know if you need a hand with anything.
Thanks.
I can put this down, but yeah, I think we're pretty well covered.
In dirt.
Everybody say hi to Quinn.
Hi.
Quinn, what's your music recommendation for today?
Oh.
Just so I can put you on the spot.
Oh man. If you've never listened to The Dark Side of the Moon fully through.
Oh, nice.
It's a good statement.
While you're watching Wizard of Oz?
Yes. While you're.
It doesn't really line up.
That's what I've heard.
It does line up. It does.
Don't you have to like wait like 20 seconds or something, or I don't know.
Yeah. So I guess maybe it doesn't then. But let's pretend it does.
Yeah. There's some parts where you're like, whoa. That's cool.
Wonder who's the first person to discover that. And
Probably their greatest legacy.
yeah, honestly, it probably is. Yeah, well, cool. I got some more questions in chat, so let me answer those. Cephalomorph says, did your experience teaching help the transition to science outreach? It certainly did, yeah. Actually, that's what kind of prompted it. Because I was teaching full-time, and then COVID hit in March of 2020. And the school that I was teaching at closed its doors, and we switched to, like online, teaching over Zoom, basically. And so I had to get a webcam and figure all that stuff out. And then that's the same... Oop, there's a lizard over there. Hang on. You doing some push-ups at me, lizard? Is that a threat display? You're so scary. Look at you. Look at you. Yeah. What are you doing? Some kind of spiny lizard. That's the name of the whole group, I think, is the spiny lizards. Oh, there he is in the shadow there. Oh, and there's his tail going under. Hey, lizard friend. How you doing? Yeah. Well, there you go. Anyway, yeah. It was right when COVID hit that I also met Ios and Lordy, and Ios introduced me to Twitch. And I was already teaching online at the time via Zoom. And I said, well, shoot, why don't I try to do something similar on Twitch? And thus was born twitch.tv/paleontologizing. And the rest is history. That was 3 years ago. And here we are today. Yeah. But yeah, definitely like working with kids and teaching. I don't know, I feel like that came pretty naturally to me. But even just some of the nitty-gritty of like teaching online and using webcams and stuff like that, that definitely prepared me for streaming. It's a very similar skill set. So yeah. Lizard says, I said no pictures. It's not pictures, this is video, Caravan. We won't take that objection from a lizard. Yeah. Did the tibia make it down okay? Asked Cactus Jack. It's still there. We're going to take that out today. We've got that orange stretcher over there. I'll show you later in the quarry. We're going to ratchet strap the tibia to that and then bring it up to the truck to get that out today because it was heavy. And we were working in the quarry for let's see, we were in the field for, from 10 a.m. until about 8 p.m. So yeah, like a solid 10 hours yesterday. So we were pretty wiped by the end of the day. Like, the sun was going down by the time that we were leaving. So yeah. But we'll get that out today, and that'll be nice. But yeah. And are you going to be able to do one live during your next volunteer? I will, yeah. So in mid-July, I'm going to be streaming from eastern Utah, near the town of Moab. We're going to be digging up dinosaurs in the earliest Cretaceous Cedar Mountain Formation out there in eastern Utah. And so I'll be there for between 3 weeks and a month. So from mid-July until maybe mid-August. And I'll be streaming as often as I can. So, yeah, stay tuned for more exciting Dinosaur Dig streams. And actually, it should be a lot easier to stream from there, because we can walk from our camp to the quarry. And so it'll be a lot easier to charge the solar batteries, because I can have the solar panels out all day. And, yeah, it'll be good. It'll be really good. And we'll have some really cool people on the crew who are good on camera. People like Don DeBlue and Jim Kirkland. And that'll be a ton of fun to hang out with them. And we'll do some interview streams and probably some streams from in camp, too. It's going to be nice. Yeah. And Zucchini Loaf, welcome. How are you doing? Zucchini Loaf has got a great question. How do you prepare for a dig? For example, the gear that you have to bring and preparing for outdoor conditions that might be unexpected? Yeah. Got to make sure that you've got good gear on your person, good sturdy boots, clothes that are suitable for hot weather. Always make sure that you've got a rain jacket for those unexpected rainstorms. Have a good hat to protect your head from, protect your face from the sun and keep your head cool. And yeah, it's a lot like camping, except it's much more long-term. And yeah, we're like away from civilization for a lot longer. We're more isolated out here. So yeah, make sure you bring extra food. Make sure you've got a good tent, a good rucksack or backpack, all kinds of stuff like that. Yeah. Kind of too much to list. And how much time do you think you'll plan on spending next year when you come back to get the rest of the duckbill? Oliver, that's a good question. I don't know. As long as it takes. Like, it'll probably be about 3 weeks again, but maybe I'll leave earlier. It kind of depends on our project lead here, on Ethan, and what he's able to put together. So, yeah. The thing is, the earlier in the season you leave, like May, the crazier the weather is. Around the middle of summer, it tends to mellow out a bit, be more predictable. At least that's the way it was up in Montana, north of here. But yeah, here in Wyoming, I think in May you might still get snowstorms and stuff like that rolling through, and probably a lot more rain than you would get in the middle of the summer. So yeah, going out early isn't always the best idea, because you might you might end up wasting a lot of days just because of weather. But yeah. And have we got a raid going here? Hang on a second. Yeah. Soy Sauce Bunny, welcome. Good to have you here. Agent Lion, I've never been to the UK for digs or any other purpose. No, never been to the UK. Although we had somebody here who's a professor in the UK. Yeah, staying with us for a couple weeks. He just left the other day. There are not very many dinosaur digs in the UK. Oh, not compared to the US. Holy moly. You don't really have this kind of landscape in the UK. You don't really have desert in the middle of the United Kingdom like we do here in the United States. And this is the place to go if you want to find dinosaur fossils easily. So yeah. Let's see. Scrolling. Soy Sauce Bunny, I'm so glad you found this channel. Welcome. And GTAMK, we don't have any rifles in camp, no. But yeah. And Multibox says, if you had unlimited resources, what would be the dream dig? Holy cow. Antarctica. Because just about any dinosaur that we would find there would be new. There are, what, like 3 or 4 dinosaurs named from Antarctica? So if we just go to a new spot and find some more rock, yeah, it would be incredibly expensive just to get there. And then to have all the equipment and feed your crew and everything else. You probably need helicopter support and snowmobiles and everything else. But yeah, I would want to do Antarctica with unlimited resources. Well, shoot, how unlimited are these resources? Are we talking like time machine money? Because, oh boy, would that open some new avenues. Oh, yeah. And, but yeah. And we need to raise money to allow Danny to go to Britain's Jurassic Coast. That would be cool, Caravan, but I don't know if I'd be able to actually do any important scientific work there like we're doing here. That'd be really cool to go there and see where Mary Anning lived and, yeah, kind of be drinking her legacy there. But, I don't know, this is really scientifically important work that we're doing here because the Almond Formation, there are no dinosaurs named from here yet. Everything's going to be new, and we're you know, filling an important gap in the dinosaur record of North America in the Cretaceous. Yeah. But yeah, and yes, Darkness, yeah, in Europe, whether it's Germany or England or France, often like stone quarries and places like that where dinosaur fossils were found. Because you get a lot of forest out there. You don't really have a lot of, you know, desert. If you want to find desert in Europe, I guess you'd go to Spain or Portugal, the Iberian Peninsula. And there are very cool dinosaurs coming out of there. That is kind of it's an exciting new frontier in dinosaur science. Spain and Portugal. Yeah. And we got Hype Train going. Beautiful. Afro Bandit Girl says, are there any museums you'd like to visit that you have not yet been to? Yeah, all of them. Holy cow. I'm very much a museum person, so any chance I get to visit a new museum, I'm thrilled to do so. And I'm hoping when I'm traveling over the next few weeks, I'll get to visit some new museums. So I'm excited about that. Yeah. And Martin the Mountain Man says, did you ever find any ancient civilization objects or human remains when looking for dinosaurs? I have not, no. But we do have on our crew right now a volunteer who's an archaeologist. And maybe we'll ask her about this in just a little bit. Elena just joined us last night, and she can talk to you all about being an archaeologist in Wyoming and, you know, finding human artifacts and stuff. But yeah. And, and very cool, Nothing More Variant. That's a good place to study universal microwave background radiation. Yeah. Buffalo Safari says, what's your favorite museum? Ooh, good question. I've got a few that are very close to my heart. Oh, there's a lizard. Hey, lizard. Oh, going under the sagebrush. One of these days we'll get an up-close video shot of a lizard here, and that'll make everyone happy, I think. But, hasn't happened yet. Yeah, I'm very fond of the University of California Museum of Paleontology. That's kind of where I first got my start in legit paleontology. It's in Berkeley, California. Although it's like a research collection, so it's not like a public-facing museum. And there's the Museum of the Rockies, where I was trained as a dinosaur paleontologist. That's in Bozeman, Montana. They've got a few dinosaurs on display there that I helped dig up, like Yoshi's trike, for instance, from dug up the postcrania in 2011. And then the Badlands Dinosaur Museum in Dickinson, North Dakota. I've dug up some of the dinosaurs on display there, too. And my old crew chief, Denver Fowler, now helps run that museum as their curator of paleontology. And I was helping out there kind of when he was starting to revamp that museum, right after he got hired. And so I helped design some of their displays and stuff like that, like their timeline that appears on all the informational placards. I designed that. So yeah. Anyway, that's a really, really cool place to be. The Badlands Dinosaur Museum, that's an up-and-coming institution. Like, they punch well above their weight. For a small municipal museum, they are digging up really, really impressive dinosaurs every summer. they had that new Tyrannosaur just published last year, Daspletosaurus wilsoni, which is named after my old roommate, Jack Wilson. I used to work with him in the field all the time. Yeah, and we lived in the same apartment back in Bozeman, Montana. And Esther the Dreamer says, Ashley Hall works there, Montana. Yeah. So I've met Ashley Hall a few times. She is married to Lee Hall, whom I've done field work with before. He was also on the Museum of the Rockies crew in 2011 when we were digging up Yoshi's trike. So yeah, I know Ashley. Ashley's great. So yeah. And the Badlands Dinosaur Museum is public facing. If you're ever driving through North Dakota, make sure you visit it. Holy cow, if there's one thing to visit in North Dakota, visit the Badlands Dinosaur Museum. Remember, Mount Rushmore is South Dakota. And I don't think that's even as cool as North Dakota's Badlands Dinosaur Museum. Check that out. And yeah, you'll see some of the dinosaurs I helped dig up. You'll see a Triceratops that I discovered there. Yeah, Count Tricula is the site name. But yeah, Miss Yvette says, can tree roots break bones sometimes? They do. That happened at our other site. I was talking about that yesterday. Yeah. The trochanter on the end of our tibia came off, and that was because of some roots. So yeah. And where are we now? Oh, Sketty Sandwich, welcome to Paleontologizing. Shoot, let me do a little station break and introduce you. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. I stream on Twitch, usually from my office, 5 days a week, every weekday. But during the summer, I go out and dig up dinosaurs, and this year I am super excited to be able to bring you along for that. We are here in western Wyoming, the western Wyoming desert, digging up a new duckbill dinosaur here. There's a disarticulated skull, so a skull that's all fallen apart, here in this quarry, and my crew's up there excavating this as we speak. We've got a very big crew. Oop, and a lizard. Hey, lizard. Will you let us get close? Here he goes. Anyway, yeah. The quarry's pretty full right now, which is why I don't feel bad about not helping. But when we get to jacketing, I'll have to lend a hand and help direct things. But yeah. Anyway, here's the quarry right now. We've got our disarticulated skull from a new hadrosaur. Almost certainly a new hadrosaur.
I was hoping you'd make it out here.
Yeah. And Elena, we had some archaeology questions earlier, so if...
I can do my best.
Yeah, shoot, if anybody's got any archaeology questions for our resident archaeologist here, yeah, let us know. But yeah. So yeah, sorry to pester you guys again, but here's the quarry, everybody, in chat. And Fisher right there under his knees is, yeah, that is a beautiful lower jaw dentary of our duckbill dinosaur.
That's where the action happened.
Yeah. So we've already got one of these dentaries out in a jacket, and that is back in camp. But yeah, this one we're going to try and get out today or probably tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
It's going to take a long time.
We could probably flip it today, actually, if we get it done in the
Nice.
next hour, if we jacket it in the next hour.
Very nice.
Maybe we can get it out of here today, guys. Wouldn't that be fun?
That'd be fantastic. Yeah.
Get it out of our way.
Use the stretcher for that, and then take that to T-bone later and get our tibia out.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Here's that stretcher, by the way, which is looking a little bit less orange than it did a few days ago. I think the sun has done a number on it. But yeah, that's what we'll be using to haul this thing out and get it onto the truck. So yeah. As you can tell, this is all highly technical, extremely expensive, precision scientific equipment that we have, like paintbrushes, and you show off one of those scissors.
Ruler. Covered in plaster.
What about that whisk broom there?
Oh, the one that's been consumed?
Sawed off with
Yeah, it's sawed off.
double
The
barrel
remains of a whisk broom. We've had some pack rats coming into the quarry at night, and they love those bristles. They've been stealing them. But yeah. Anyway.
Blame them. They need it more than we do.
They probably do. Yeah, They don't have a Costco card or anything.
Hard life out here.
Yeah, and then some kitty litter. This isn't actually kitty litter. That's in camp, but there's this is full of glue for the fossils. And yeah. So like I said, extremely specialty, expensive scientific equipment. Yeah. And yeah. Let me look at chat, see if there's any questions that have popped up while I've been not looking at it. Let's see here. Oh, Mist Evil. Let's see. Very fond memories of Dinosaur National Monument as a child. Oh, yeah. Have I been there? I have live streamed from there twice. Yeah. Last year I did a stream from there, and then the year before too. That was pretty cool. And one of these days I'll have those VODs up on YouTube so you can watch them. Because I have them saved. Oh, we have an ant carrying something important. You're doing some important work there. Is that an oat? From someone's lunch, perhaps? Or is it some sort of seed? Ant friend. If you like ants, you should follow Science Streams here on Twitch. Because Balint and Lita are a married couple of systems and molecular biologists, and sometimes they work on ants and show ants live on stream. It's good stuff. Yeah. Let's see. Scrolling. King of SWAT, how are you doing? They say, so in movies I see a lot more people and tents and trucks and an entire site of digging, but here it looks smaller. We do have a small crew, and our camp is also a few miles away. So we're here at the top of a ridge, and this is not a good place to camp, because it would be a long way up from the road to haul all the gear, and also it gets really, really windy up here. We're actually pretty lucky that it's not super windy right now. But yeah, maybe we'll do a stream from camp tonight or tomorrow or something. I don't know. We'll see. So you can see the camp too. But if you go back in the VODs, we had a camp stream, 2 camp streams, I think, a little while ago. Actually, like 2 weeks ago now at this point. But yeah. How's the Starlink doing? You tell me, Miss Yvette. Can you see me right now? Because if you can, it's, yeah, it's going pretty well, I think. Oh, and I got another lizard. Right there. Oh, me being camera shy. Yeah, let's go see. Right there on that rock. There he goes. Hey, you beautiful little lizard. How you doing? We didn't see any lizards here for like the first week, it felt like. Because it was just too cold and cloudy and rainy. And now that it's sunny, there's lizards everywhere. Seems they really like that sunshine. Little ectothermic reptiles. Oh, get the ant! Distracted them too much. But yeah. Yeah. It's not a skink or a blue-tail. This is some kind of spiny lizard, I think. Like a fence lizard or some such. Yeah. There you are. Harassing the local wildlife. Speaking of local wildlife, there's a rock wren over there. On top of that rock. I'll try and silhouette him against the sky so you can see. Look at that long bill. Rock wrens are some of my favorite birds out here. Oh, there he goes. Yeah. We'd get them visiting the quarry and eating bugs and stuff. Yeah. King of Swat says, how often are new species found? Good question. So new species of dinosaur are found all the time. It kind of varies year to year, but on average it's like once every couple weeks there's a new species of dinosaur that gets scientifically described in the literature. So it'll get published in a scientific journal. Well, there's some lizards chasing each other over here. Let's see if we can catch that on camera. Yeah. Doing some push-ups there. Right there, next to the orange lichen on that rock. Hey, lizard friend. How you doing? Oop, another one. Yeah, he's missing the end of his tail. He or she. Probably he. He's doing push-ups. I don't think the females do that. Yeah. Oop. Hello, hello. Oh. Under the rock. There we go. What were you saying? Got distracted again. These lizards are too cool to miss. I forget what the question was. Yeah. And Dover Cook says, this is so different from my native Massachusetts. It's wide open. Yeah, Dover Cook, this is, things are a bit more open out here in the West. But we actually have, well, later this summer, in mid-July through about mid-August, I'm going to be in eastern Utah, streaming from there, doing some dinosaur fieldwork, digging some dinosaurs. But our two crew chiefs on that site, Don DeBlue and Jim Kirkland, they are the official state paleontologists for the state of Utah. They're both from Massachusetts. So you stick around and you'll be able to ask them questions about where they're from and that kind of thing, and how they ended up out here, you know? Out here in the West. It is big sky country, never winter fool, yeah. Oh, how often are new species found? Yeah. So in 2020, there were 48 new species of dinosaur that were published in the year 2020. That's almost one per week. I think so far for 2023, we have like 7 or something. It might even be fewer. So we might be seeing the effects of COVID on that. That putting a crimp in things. There's a big lead time. So like this dinosaur that we're digging up right now, this is going to go back to the laboratory in just a few days, and or maybe about a week, and then who knows how long it'll be until it can actually get published. It could be that it'll take I don't know, a year or two, or it could be longer, because you got to bring it back to the laboratory, you got to have it cleaned, got to have it like reposited in the collections, you got to photograph it, have somebody study it, have somebody write it up, like put together a manuscript, then you have to submit it to several journals, then you have to have it get peer reviewed, and that's a process that can take a year in and of itself. So yeah, there's a long lead time between when you first dig up a dinosaur and then when it actually gets published and announced in the press. So yeah, this is going to be a multi-year project getting these things published for sure. And that's if you fast track it. There are dinosaur fossils that get collected, they get jacketed, and they get sent off to a museum, and they just end up in storage for 100 years. It happens. If nobody's particularly excited to work on that one specimen, it might just sit there in storage for a long, long time. But if it's something really exciting and important, usually gets worked on pretty quickly, and it'll be like maybe a couple years before it gets published. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. New dinosaurs are discovered all the time, like especially during the summer here in the Northern Hemisphere. But it'll be a few years until they actually get published. So yeah. Sometimes you get a year where you get 50 new dinosaur species published. Some years you might have like 15. But yeah. Caravan says, could the COVID lockdown have increased the writing up of new discoveries but slowed the fieldwork? I think that's exactly what happened. Yeah, Caravan. I think you're right. Yeah. And Espy says, would assume one more gets found in the summer in the Northern Hemisphere. Yes. I mean, during the winter here, and winter can be, can take a super long time. Winter can be many, many months. Winter might be from September through May in a place like this in Wyoming. yeah, this is all covered by snow. Super cold too, and you get these like crazy strong winds just blowing the snow around. Yeah. So anyway, that's why we dig during the summer. Even though it's hot and dry, it's the only time we can be out here. Yeah. And sorry, Phil. Hey, thank you. Welcome to this early stream. Yeah. Yeah, anyway. Seen any cool birds lately other than that rock wren? Yeah, we saw some sort of bird of prey yesterday, live on stream. Tried to figure out what it was, but it was too far away. Could have been a peregrine falcon. We do have some falcons nesting right above camp, which is really cool. I think they're peregrines, but that's only because I don't know what a prairie falcon looks like, and they could well be prairie falcons. I don't know. I don't know how to tell the difference between those. I've never really seen a prairie falcon. But yeah, we get turkey vultures, nighthawks. We saw a nighthawk yesterday at the other site, which is pretty cool. I love nighthawks. They're super neat. And yeah, some little sparrow-like birds that I don't know what they are. Yeah, I don't think I've seen a single hummingbird so far. But, in an area like this, we don't get too many flowers, I suppose. Yeah. And Rila Rolla says, how do you know it's a different species and not just some variant of an already known species? Pardon my ignorance. No, it's a good question, Rila Rolla. That's a great question. We're kind of making an assumption at this point that this is going to be a new species just because there are no dinosaurs that have been named from this particular chunk of time in this particular place. So we know dinosaurs change really quickly. You could say they turn over pretty quickly, I guess, although it's not really turnover if what you're having is anagenesis, if it's one species just evolving into another over time. Anyway, dinosaurs evolve pretty quickly, and so since no dinosaurs have been named from this formation, there's an excellent chance this is going to be a new species. Like, I'd be very surprised if it were something that were already known. I guess there is a chance. Like if you had a duckbill dinosaur from 73 million years ago in another part of North America, this could be the same thing, but I don't think we do, actually. Yeah, I think this is going to be the only duckbill dinosaur known from this time, if I'm correct. So yeah, it's almost certainly going to be new. But the way to test that is to actually bring the bones back to the laboratory, clean them, and study them. So that's what this is all about, Yeah. Hey, Fedora, so the dig is going well. Thank you. Yeah. And Cyan Streams, how are you doing? Welcome to you. I hope things have been going well with your streams and with baby Alona and with Lita and with the ants and the cats and everybody else. Yeah. Good stuff. And Bozocentric says anagenesis sounds really intriguing. I agree. That's something that really gets my motor running as a dinosaur paleontologist. This idea that we can actually find enough dinosaurs and be able to pinpoint exactly where they lived so that we can put them into a sequence and figure out which ones evolved into which other ones. I find that really, really exciting, Because the fossil record, everybody says it's very incomplete, and the likelihood of finding any particular thing is really low. So the idea that we've finally been able to get to the point where we're starting to see one species evolving into another in the fossil record, that's really, really exciting. We could do it with other groups. You can do that with like Pleistocene mammals and stuff like that. But, we've got much higher resolution data for them. We don't have that for dinosaurs for the most part, except in a few key places like Western North America in the late Cretaceous. We've got enough dinosaurs from enough strata that we could start to line them up and go, shoot, there's a pattern here. This guy evolves into this guy who evolves into this guy. And sometimes it's like practically unmistakable. It's really cool. We have this for Triceratops, for instance, where we can watch Triceratops evolve over time throughout the Hell Creek Formation. And that's super, super neat. And we can only do that because we have a lot of specimens of Triceratops, like, hundreds. At Museum of the Rockies alone, where I used to work, they've got over 100 Triceratops there. And, once you get a big sample size, then you could start seeing those gradual trends, which is really, really cool. So I find that super exciting. Yeah. And Lordy, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome. It's good to have you here. I hope you're having a good day so far, Lordy. Yeah, early stream today. And Ilona is 5 months old now. She's watching you. Hello, baby Ilona. How are you doing? Welcome, welcome to Paleontologizing. There's a really decent chance you're going to grow up to be a scientist because you've got two awesome scientist parents. And, yeah. Lucky you. Holy cow. Anyway, for anybody who's just tuning in right now, welcome to Paleontologizing. We've got 330 people watching. Holy cow. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist, and I'm out here in western Wyoming right now, digging dinosaurs. There's my crew back there, working on what's almost certainly a new species of duckbill dinosaur. And, yeah. The quarry's pretty crowded right now, so I don't really feel bad about walking around and doing some outreach. But when it comes time to jacket some of that stuff, it's going to be all hands on deck, and I'm going to have to help direct things. So yeah. Good stuff. Let me scroll down. And Nexus of Midnight says, question, though, will we ever find all the dinosaur bones? All are found and no new dinosaurs are found? I don't think so. No. Because in order to do that, you would need every set of Mesozoic rocks on the planet to be explored, and many of those are deep, deep underground and, like, not accessible, so no chance we'll ever find all of the dinosaurs that ever lived. And not all of the dinosaurs that ever lived would have gotten fossilized either. I'm sure you would have had species that lived, only in erosional environments, only in environments where rock is being destroyed and not areas where rock is being deposited. So those dinosaurs never had a chance to get buried and get fossilized, and I guess we'll just never know about them. Unless you invent a time machine, Yeah. Yeah. And Riddle26, how are you doing? He asked, did the concentration of fossils over time you mentioned earlier mean tris were only semi-migratory or had regular Oh, Triceratops, you mean? Trikes is our nickname for him if you want to give him a short nickname. They were only semi-migratory or had regular intergenerational territories they always returned to. We think that it may have just been like a huge continuous population across North America. These are animals that would be pretty hard to like isolate and get them to speciate allopatrically, if that makes sense. Really mobile animals. And so yeah. But again, we can't know that for sure yet because our best sample of Triceratops is from Montana. We don't know what Triceratops looked like on the east coast of the United States because those rock records are not preserved, Yeah, it could be that they didn't even live there. I don't know. But from what we can tell, from the data that we have, it seems like Triceratops don't really differ geographically. Maybe that's a result of poor sampling. Maybe we just need 5,000 Triceratops from different parts of the western U.S. before we can really make an assessment about that. But for the time being, our working hypothesis, I say this is like Museum of the Rockies and researchers associated with the Hell Creek Project and stuff like that. Our idea is that basically Triceratops didn't really differ that much across the U.S. They're kind of like, bison, where they lived from coast to coast and, Yeah, they look largely the same everywhere. At least they're not like wildly different species or anything. One continuous population, all sharing genes, it seems. That's the idea. And yeah, Ridless says, so we think there were just boatloads around there. That's even more fascinating? Oh, yeah. No, dinosaurs would have been super, super common all throughout Western North America during the late Cretaceous. So yeah. And what time is it here? It's just afternoon. I'm starting to get a little hungry. Might even eat lunch on stream in a little bit. Yeah. But Ridla, yeah, thank you for being here. And thank you for the great question. Yeah. What came first, the dinosaur or the egg, says Whitball? Easy. So eggs predate dinosaurs by, 250 million years or something like that? Critters have been laying eggs since, the Cambrian period or earlier? Maybe since the Precambrian? So yeah, dinosaurs first evolved around 235 million years ago, something like that. And the first egg-laying creatures, they would have been like at least 500 million years ago. So yeah. Steely Dan says, can you tell us a little bit about your Spinosaurid research? A little bit. I'm working on Spinosaurids. There's a general consensus that these really cool dinosaurs with these long crocodile-like snouts, that they ate fish. So there's a general agreement about that among dinosaur paleontologists. And so I and a co-author are trying to figure out how they actually would have caught those fish, using this weird suite of adaptations and morphologies that they had. So we've been looking at some modern animals to try and garner some clues, and it's been a fun project, and I'm this close to being able to publish it. I just have to finish the illustrations, and then make some revisions, because new Spinosaur papers keep coming out, and that means that there are new things to cite and like changes I need to make to the manuscript. So I'm hoping sometime in early fall I can get that submitted for publication. Yeah. But yeah. And some people are talking about what Wyoming would have looked like at the time. Oh yeah, here. Reelarola says, why were there so many dinosaurs there? It doesn't look like a very livable area. Shoot, let me show you. You're right, this is not a very livable area right now. But it looked very, very different during the late Cretaceous. So this is it at present. But let me go walk over and get a visual aid for you to show you a map of what North America looked like at this time, and you'll see why it's very, very different. So let's go walk up by where the Starlink is, and I've got the visual aids inside of there. And Crazy Cat Lady says, are there paleontologists who look for things that are not dinosaurs? Yeah, most of them. Most paleontologists don't work on dinosaurs. I do. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. But there are paleobotanists who study fossil plants. There are paleomammalogists who study fossil mammals. There are people who study fossil reptiles and insects and fishes. And any critter that would have left a fossil, there's a paleontologist who studies it. And we'll check on our 27% shoot. We are using much more power than we're getting from the solar panel. That's not ideal. Ugh. Oh well, that might limit our stream today. I should have brought two panels, honestly. But this little power station is, here, let's go like this. Cover it up more, so it doesn't have to use the fan as much. Maybe that'll help. Here's our visual aids here. Nice. So, like I said, this is what our landscape looks like right now out here in western Wyoming. We're currently at like 7,500 feet of elevation. So like, yeah, over 7,000 feet above sea level. Up in the high desert, western Wyoming. But during this time, about 73 to 71 million years ago, this is what North America would have looked like. So there is this shallow, almost subtropical sea, kind of like the Mediterranean or maybe like the Caribbean, that inundated the middle of North America. So this rectangle right here is the state of Wyoming today. And we are about right there, kind of near the town of Green River, Wyoming. So yeah, at the time, again, this is 70.4 million years ago. So this is actually a little bit after the rocks that we're digging up here, these dinosaurs. This beach would have been even closer over here, would have been further to the west. So we would have been right on the beach here, basically, like at sea level. So instead of these rolling hills and this very austere landscape, instead this area would have been flat at the time. And covered by forest and floodplain, you would have had like warm, temperate, or even like subtropical plants in here, like palms, lots of ferns and horsetails, maybe a few cycads here and there, conifer trees, Yeah, so this floodplain would have stretched out to the sea over there to the east. And, yeah, in these lowlands would have lived many, many different kinds of dinosaurs. Duckbill dinosaurs, horned dinosaurs, meat-eating tyrannosaurs, ankylosaurs with all of their armor plates. And then, kind of going smaller into the fauna, we get crocodiles, we get salamanders, we get various fishes like gar and bowfin, probably sturgeons and freshwater sharks living in these waterways that are kind of going out to sea there. Yeah, it would have been a lot warmer than it is today on average, because here in Wyoming, it snows a lot during the winter. So it would have been warmer, much less seasonal, so much more steady temperature throughout the year, and a lot wetter too. We actually get a lot of coals and stuff like this, so this is a pretty swampy area during this time. And then if you look out at those rocks over there, see those big white bands of rock? So those are some white sandstones that are underneath the Almond Formation. That's the Erickson sandstone. And then you get above that, we get into the Lewis Shale, which is marine. So during this point in time, this would have been coast, beachfront property. But then shortly after that, you go forward a little bit in time into the beginning of the Maastrichtian, and this seaway would have come over here and inundated it. So this was covered by ocean shortly after these dinosaurs lived and died, like a few million years later. So yeah, pretty cool to have this vast inland sea like that. Yeah. So yeah. You tell a fine story. Thanks. You're welcome, Billy Clinton. Hey, thank you for being here, and thank you for the kind words. Yeah. Oh, it's nice having those clouds overhead. Yeah. Very nice. So yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Looks like Quinn's calling home right now. Yeah, I'm gonna drink some water because it's been a while now. Yeah. And Dinosaur Dave says, if we hit 400 viewers and I'm still here, I'll drop 20 subs to everyone. That's awesome, Dinosaur Dave. Thank you. I bet you we will. Yeah. And is it as clear as it looks? It's clearer, Professor. Yes, indeed. Yeah. And yeah, this isn't nice for the solar panel, I guess. It would be cool to have a little bit more sun here, because we're draining the battery pack. Lee. But yeah. Oh, and Pendrake says, did this connect to the ocean? It did. So the WIST, the Western Interior Seaway, at the same time that it came west here and inundated this area, it was also expanding south, and so it actually connected to the Caribbean down here. And so North America just got cut in half during that time, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Here's my home state of California right here. Here's the western coast of California as it is today. You see, this is all under the ocean over here. There's just a few islands and then some stuff in Southern California. So yeah, a lot of California is actually accreted terrain. So it's like bits of the, I think, Pacific plate and a few other plates that got shunted up onto land. And it's what we would call an exotic terrain. Yeah. And let's see. Fuzzrock says, what type of rocks are around the bones that you found there? So these are in a sandstone, which might represent... Those sandstones may have been laid down by like a river, or I guess it could also be a floodplain. Although a lot of floodplains tend to be kind of muddier. Could also be like a mangrove swamp or even a beach. Yeah. We need to actually get a sedimentologist in here to take a look at these rocks and figure out what exactly is going on. But we do know that we've got a lot of plant material in here, a lot of roots, a lot of plant crud that's, from the Cretaceous. It's mixed in with the hadrosaur skull bones there. And so, that might give us a clue as to what kind of environment this would have been at the time. Let's put this away in here. Yeah. 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 And how much must have missed with the biomes, the interior sea connecting the two oceans, and let a current go straight through. Yeah, Max Ding. Pretty cool. During that time, when that seaway was going through the middle of North America, there are all kinds of cool critters. Oops. I just walked in front of the Starlink. Hopefully I didn't disrupt the signal. There are all kinds of cool critters that were swimming through there. Things like plesiosaurs and mosasaurs. Plesiosaurs have got the 4 flippers and either a short or a very, very long neck. Mosasaurs were giant ocean-going lizards. Picture like a gigantic Komodo dragon, 40 feet long, with flippers. That's a mosasaur. And all kinds of really cool fishes and sharks and stuff like that swimming through there too. And today we find their fossils in places like Nebraska and Kansas, and North and South Dakota and Wyoming too. Yeah, because Wyoming would have been covered by the WIS, the Western Interior Seaway. So yeah. And what's the hottest temperature it's gotten here? It's been really pleasant, actually. It's been like maybe 83, 84. Yeah. Although I still got to remember to drink water. I just forgot to do that, even though it's really nice. Yeah. But yeah. And yeah, hilariously long neck, sometimes golden neck. Yeah, you can go back to the VOD that I did on the 13th, I think. Yeah, at a local community college, they had a cast of a... Oh, water's over there. Well, I've got another water bottle. They have a cast of an elasmosaur with a stupidly long neck. Its neck is like 20 feet long, or longer, with an insane number of vertebrae in it. These guys had up to like 72 vertebrae in their necks. Just wild. So yeah. Galera Dragon says, did the Panama Canal open up ocean for invasive species? It did, Galera Dragon, yeah. That wasn't great. But there's another really interesting thing that happened. You know, they dug the Panama Canal to connect the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. But up until a few million years ago, those were already connected. So North and South America hadn't yet kissed right there at the Isthmus of Panama. They hadn't come together at that little land bridge. And so you could swim from the Atlantic to the Pacific, just right between those two continents. But that meant that the animals that were living and evolving on those two continents, North and South America, were very different from one another. And when they met, there's this thing that we call GABI, G-A-B-I, the Great American Biotic Interchange. So creatures from the north went south, creatures from the south spread north, and, worlds collide. And it's really interesting that, like, certain groups really didn't do well. They got outcompeted by new invaders. But yeah, things like opossums that we have here in North America today, they came north from South America. South America used to be like a stronghold of marsupials like that. And then creatures like proboscideans, elephants, they went from the north down into South America. Sloths came up from South America into the north. That's why we get ground sloths in like the La Brea tar pits. Their ancestors came from South America. So that's really, really interesting. And they can actually time when that land bridge formed, and then when it went away for a little bit, and then when it came back, not by looking at land animals, but by looking at freshwater fishes. So freshwater fishes cannot survive in ocean water. So the only way that they could get from North America to South America, or vice versa, is if you have land there, and if you have streams and rivers going between. So they can swim from North America to South America, or vice versa. And so you start seeing those show up in the fossil record, like, oh shoot, these are South American fish. And they're showing up in Mexico? What? And it's because they're crossing that land bridge through the rivers and streams. It's really cool stuff. Yeah. But yeah. Good stuff. And Galera Taniastropheus does have a really absurd neck. It's very cool. Yeah. Anyway, isn't that cool, Maxton? Yeah. There's amazing things that you can do with fossils. Like, they're such a wonderful tool for learning about the history of our planet and life that's existed on it, lived and died and evolved and changed. So yeah. And Ziggy Nightmare, which museum did you just get home from? Very cool. It's great to have you here. Welcome. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, let's, I think I'm going to eat some lunch, actually, because maybe I'll wait a little while. Let's walk around and take a look at some of the wildlife here. And Colin Robinson, we're digging up a duckbill dinosaur, like it says in the title. Yeah. New kind of hadrosaur, duckbill dinosaur, from the late Cretaceous of North America. So there's the crew over there, and we've got its skull. This would have been an animal about 40 feet long, and it's got a big honkin' skull in many, many pieces. So it's a lot of work to dig up. Yeah. But yeah. And very cool, the Carnegie. Nice, Ziggy Nightmare. That's awesome. I've never been to the Carnegie. Yeah. And A-Rod, I just drank some water like 2 minutes ago. You're a little bit late. Yeah. Yeah. Here, I'll take a look at some of the plants again. Here's some prickly pear cactus with... all full of bugs. There's some sort of bee in there right now. Hello. We've got some ants doing their job to pollinate too. Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah. Let's see if we can spot some lizards or something, or some other birds. And then in a little bit I'll eat some lunch, and then, yeah. Aren't those pretty? Yeah. So even in the desert here, there are splashes of beautiful foliage. Yes, the flora of western Wyoming. It can be pretty sometimes. Yeah. We don't have too many wildflowers up here. This is mostly prickly pear cactus that's in bloom. But you go down in the valleys and there's all kinds of cool wildflowers. There's like Indian paintbrush and sago lilies and all kinds of cool flowers. Oh, here's a little flower right here. I don't know what this is, but it always looks like it's been stepped on like 2 seconds before you find it. Not sure who this is, but it is certainly pretty. Kind of wilty. Yeah. These are all over the place, and they always look like they've just gotten trampled. Here's another one here that's not opened up yet. Yeah. Oop. Here's my camera pack. Yeah. Yeah, and holy cow, Dinosaur Dave. That is incredible. Thank you, Dinosaur Dave. Did we reach 400 viewers? Is that what this is? Thank you, Dinosaur Dave, for supporting this community. I would not be here, obviously, if it weren't for the generosity of the paleontologizing community. I would not be streaming full-time were it not for you guys. And we would not be out here digging like we are right now were it not for everybody who contributed to our big fundraiser. That is extraordinary, and I can't tell you how grateful I am. Pretty awesome. Yeah. Yeah. And Bex Person says, I wonder if they wilt during the day in the heat and then rise up during the night. I don't know, Box Person. That's a good question. Bex Person, sorry. Yeah. Big Bad Eric says, what kind of dinosaurs will we be looking for in Utah? Well, shoot, let me go show you that. I've got a visual aid thing over there, too. So I can show and tell. But we're going to be looking at some, well, not looking at. We're going to be digging up some dinosaurs from the very beginning of the Cretaceous period. So there's three main periods. There's three periods in the age of dinosaurs. The Triassic, and dinosaurs first evolve a little bit after the start of the Triassic period. Then you've got the Jurassic, that everybody's heard of because of Jurassic Park. And dinosaurs get really, really big during the Jurassic, and they take over the Earth. And they continue their dominion over Earth, like as the dominant large vertebrates, all the way through the end of the Cretaceous period. And the Cretaceous period ends with a bang when the asteroid hit 66 million years ago. So anyway, we're going to be digging at the very beginning of the Cretaceous in the Cedar Mountain Formation, which is exciting because the Cedar Mountain Formation was unknown until like 30 years ago. And now it's one of the most important dinosaur-bearing formations in the world. Let's go into here and get out that visual aid. There we are. Yeah, dinosaurs of Utah. So in just a few weeks, starting on like July 17th, I think I head down to near Moab, Utah with the Utah Geological Survey. And there we go. So like I was saying, Triassic, Jurassic, Cretaceous. So the very bottom of the Cretaceous, we've got the Cedar Mountain Formation, which is actually super long. That's like 40 million years. And so we're digging at the very bottom of the Cedar Mountain Formation, the dawn of the Cretaceous period. You get dinosaurs like Mirasaurus, Yurgavuchia, Gemini Raptor, and Falcarius down here at the bottom of the Cedar Mountain. And then we've got a new Carnosauroid. That is what we're going to be trying to find when we're down there. Big new meat-eating dinosaur. We got a few scraps of it last summer, just as kind of like a bonus when we were looking for iguanodontians. And we're going to dig in further and see if we can find more of that critter, because man, is that going to be cool. Gigantic meat-eating dinosaur. Big shark-like teeth. Yeah. Pretty cool. So that'll be in starting around July 17th. Yeah. And Beck's person, do you have ankylosing spondylitis? Yeah. That's not named after ankylosaurs, but it's the same root word. Ankylosing means like fusing together. So the ankylosaurs, that name means fused lizards, because their skulls just fuse together like crazy into this big armored box. But yeah, ankylosing spondylitis is not fun. I'm sorry you've got that, if that's what it is. Yeah, shoot. But I actually have a story about that. There is a project to try and like resurrect dinosaurs by basically taking their modern descendants, birds like the chicken, and kind of like tweaking their genome to make them look more superficially dinosaur-like. It's called the Dino Chicken Project. And it's really cool. It's just like what can we do in science sort of thing, like, because it'll teach us a lot about how development works in organisms. And one potential benefit from that might be eventually finding a cure for ankylosing spondylitis. Because one of the things that you have to do to a chicken in order to make it look like a velociraptor is to get that tail to lengthen. So chicken embryos, when they're developing, they actually develop a fairly long tail, and then a gene snaps into action and that tail gets resorbed. So those vertebrae fuse together into what we call a pygostyle. It's like the little nubbin that birds have that their tail feathers attach to. So all those little tail bones fuse together. So we can figure out what causes those bones to fuse, then we can actually understand what causes fusion in other parts of the body, and maybe we can cure something like ankylosing spondylitis. So yeah. Neat stuff. Yeah. But yeah, Big Daddy Ports, hey, I'm glad you love this channel. It's great to have you here. Welcome. Yeah. Anyway, what were we talking about earlier? Oh, let me show the birds thing real quick. I've got these visual aids. I might as well show them off. So yeah, here's a family tree of dinosaurs and their relatives. Dinosaurs start right here. So everything from there on up is a dinosaur, including aves right there, birds. Birds are living dinosaurs. And you can see that in your Thanksgiving turkey. This is a diagram that I put together. I did the art and the text for this. And I think we have a command for it in chat. But yeah, because of the way that the turkey skeleton is posed, you really can't see the pygostyle, those fused tail vertebrae. But yeah, there's a turkey and a velociraptor skeleton. Try and figure out which one is which. They've actually got a lot more similarities than you might imagine. most of what makes birds birds aren't really birdy things. They're things that they inherited from their dinosaur ancestors. So every single one of these numbers there is an example of that. From, their lightweight bones, their bipedal stance, their upper arm, their hip structure, the 3-digit hand, their feathers. Dinosaurs first evolved feathers. Birds just inherited them as like an evolutionary hand-me-down. Their wrist bones and even their wishbone. These are all dinosaur traits that birds inherited, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Your turkey is a dinosaur because it evolved from dinosaurs, and that's how it inherited all these cool dinosaurian traits. So all birds evolved from dinosaurs. A lot of people ask me that. They're like, oh, is it true that a chicken is actually related to a T-Rex? It's like, well, yes, but not just a chicken and not just a T-Rex. All birds are descended from dinosaurs. They are dinosaurs. They're the last surviving dinosaurs. So yeah. People get confused by that one. Yeah. And you sent that to your parents? Very cool, Galar Dragon. Yeah. French toast I like. How are you doing? Welcome. Yeah. And the Tolkien Otaku. We definitely do like dinosaurs here, and we're digging up a new one. Let's go take a look at the quarry again real quick. And see what the crew is up to. Yeah. SB says, can you tell us new viewers a bit about you and your team? Certainly. Yeah, my name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist, which means I study dinosaurs. I publish on them in the scientific literature. And during the summer, I go out and dig up dinosaurs. And here's our crew working on a new duckbill dinosaur right now. So let's go pester them for a minute and see what's going on over here. Yeah. All right, how are things going?
Good.
Nice. Yeah, chat is curious about who everybody is, and can we just go through it? Everybody say their name and where they're from, maybe?
All right.
Would that be too obtrusive? We'll start with you, Quinn.
Quinn Hawkins from Buffalo, New York.
Yeah.
I'm Fisher McDermott from Athens, Ohio.
Yeah.
Ethan from Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
I'm Elena from Fort Collins.
Nice.
I'm Eric from Layton.
Yeah. Got Logan over there.
Logan from Salt Lake.
Oh, from Salt Lake. I didn't know that.
Salt Lake, yep.
Nice. Cool. Yeah. And I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area. Yeah. And so we've got a new duckbill dinosaur here. Almost certainly going to be new. We're presuming that based on the fact that there have been no dinosaurs named from this particular set of rocks before, from the Almond Formation, late Cretaceous of western Wyoming. We're kind of out near the town of like Green River, if you know where that is. But right here we've got a jawbone, which is really, really important. That's the dennary right there. Let's see, Fisher, could you point to the dennary real quick for the viewers? Beautiful. Big ol' lower jawbone. Quinn's pointing to the distal end of it near where like the beak would attach. From that famous duckbill. Yeah. And based on the size of that, this is a huge honking animal. Probably like close to 40 feet long, maybe? Like approaching 13 meters. Enormous. And then there's a bunch of other disarticulated bits of the skull up here in this mass. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Elena. Yeah. Got a skull bone there, and there, and there, and there. Yeah. So it's all disarticulated. A lot of dinosaur skulls fall apart after they die. They're not quite as like solid as mammal skulls. It's like a different sort of, it's almost a different evolutionary philosophy for building a skull. Dinosaur skulls were kind of more lightweight, more full of air. Kind of like that of birds, like we were talking about earlier. That's where birds got it from. Yeah. So, yeah, anyway, the skull is the best part we could possibly hope for. Especially if we want to demonstrate that this is a new kind of dinosaur. So we're very excited about this site. And let me know if you've got any questions. Yeah. Yeah. And something big enough to scare the carnosaurs off. There you go, Cheer. Maybe, yeah. This is probably the biggest dinosaur in this environment, because we don't get sauropods here in northern North America during the late Cretaceous. So, yeah. This critter is probably bigger than even the biggest tyrannosaurs in this environment. assuming that Tyrannosaurus is the biggest of the tyrannosaurs. We don't have a tyrannosaur from this environment yet. I guess there's always a chance that when we find one, it'll be bigger than T-Rex, but I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, and what kind of soil is this? It's not soil, this is rock. And so this is sandstone over here. Yeah, so let's take a look at some of the rubble over here that came out of the quarry.
Jacket this as one jacket. Get in the crack and just go.
So yeah, pretty hard sandstone right here.
And get in this more. And then just check
Yeah,
together. So there's like 2 jackets.
good stuff.
So this doesn't, so it doesn't
It's
crack.
not the easiest matrix to work. Matrix is the stuff that surrounds the bone, you know? That's like the rock that surrounds it. We call that matrix. So as far as matrix goes, this is pretty tough stuff. But we've been really lucky in that we haven't had to use the rock saw or anything. We could just use hand tools on it. And so right now they're working on trenching around that dennery, so we can put a top jacket on that. Hopefully get that thing out today, maybe. And then we're also going to top jacket that big mass at the top with all the loose little skull bones in it. And then we can take that back to the laboratory and, under, secure, clean laboratory conditions, fossil preparators will clean that out, extract the bones, make sure that they're nice and sturdy, so they can be put into museum collections and studied and photographed, described, published, and announced to the world. So yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into, discovering a new dinosaur. So every time that you see like a headline like, oh, new dinosaur discovered somewhere in the world, realize there are years of work that went into that, and probably dozens and dozens of people who all contributed to that. And it's a collective effort, There's no one person that makes it happen. No one person could do all of this themselves, for the most part. Teamwork makes the dream work, Yeah. But yeah, Classy B fisherman, that's interesting. Yeah. Big Bad Eric says, is there a logistical limit to what you can haul out here in terms of size, or what you would find a way to get bones out here no matter how big and heavy? I mean, the biggest bones we're going to get are going to be the femurs from an animal like this, and they'll be like 4 feet long, maybe, like over a meter. It's not necessarily the size of the bone that's a limiting factor. It's like, how do we get the bones out safely if they're all jumbled together? So sometimes you have to make a huge jacket, a huge plaster jacket, like a cocoon to keep the bones safe, because the bones are all just stuck together. And the bigger and heavier the jacket, the more difficult it is to move. And so we've been pretty lucky here so far this summer in that we haven't had like a huge jumble of bones that needed a gigantic jacket. But I've been on cruise before when that's happened, where we'll have like a huge part of a triceratops skull or a triceratops pelvis, where it's just too big and heavy to move by hand, and so you have to call in a helicopter for that. And that gets tremendously expensive. When I was working with Museum of the Rockies at the Yoshi's Trike site, we had this huge jacket for the pelvis and the sacrum. We called it the T-bomb. This thing was enormous. It was like the size of, a large coffee table. It probably weighed several thousand pounds. And so we had to ask Jack Horner to call in a helicopter for us, and he found the funding for that somehow. Helicopter came out, and it lifted a bunch of the jackets, and then they were going to do the T-bomb last, because that was the heaviest one. And I think the helicopter would have the most lift after it had used some fuel or something. There was some reason why they were going to do that one last. And it was too heavy for the helicopter. It was a little tiny helicopter, so they had to bring out a Huey like a month later to get that last jacket. So yeah, we don't have helicopter money here. The only reason that we're able to be out here and, in the capacity that we are right now is because of everyone who contributed to the fundraiser. That was like 90% viewers of this channel raised like $7,000 for us to be able to dig up these new dinosaurs and buy the equipment and the food and the fuel and have the truck rental, all these things, necessary components to being able to get this done. And so, yeah, it's been a collective effort, you know? Yeah, I'm tremendously grateful to everybody who believed in us for this and gave us some funding. And anybody who contributed $100 or more, like we talked about, they will have their name in the scientific paper, like in the acknowledgments. Any scientific papers that result from this work, like this new duckbill dinosaur, those people will be mentioned by name in the acknowledgement section. Special thanks to these people who helped make it happen, you know? So it's just a sliver of immortality there, having your name in the paper for a new dinosaur. So yeah. Anyway, good stuff. Let's see, scrolling. Yeah, Galara Dragon says there must be so much verification involved before they're sure it's a whole new species. There will be, but we're really lucky in the sense that this is going to be... There are no dinosaurs named from here yet. So, you know, this is almost certainly going to be new. It already looks new from the... You know, we get a few flashes of insight from looking at this bone here and this process on that element there. And it looks like it's going to be new. So we expect it to be new, and it looks like it is. So pretty exciting. Yeah. Will you stream when you apply the jacket? I mean, we'll see how the solar generator's doing. We might actually run out of juice here. I don't know. But yeah. Anywho. And Science Stream says, how much does a helicopter cost to come out for a fossil? It could be like $20,000. Yeah, for like an hour's worth of work with a helicopter. Jet fuel is expensive, and especially if you're in a remote area that's not near where the helicopter is based, then yeah, they've got to fly a long distance and eat up a lot of fuel. It's tremendously expensive. So our budget for this summer is something like $8,000. So 1 hour of helicopter is more than twice that, to put things into perspective, you know? Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Scrolling. Nell says every penny was worth it, and we try and pinch every penny here, you know? We've been working hard to use the money in the most responsible way. Yeah. And Mayfield Pemberley, very cool. Do you know who the paleontologist was who gave the talk? Because I might know them. Yeah. But yeah. And glue is cheap. Helicopters are not cheap. This is true, Thalo. This is true. Yeah. Yeah. Any Oilers in chat want to donate for a helicopter? That's the thing, is that sometimes you can contact like the State Air National Guard or something like that. So before my time in Montana, Museum of the Rockies had some sort of relationship with the Montana Air National Guard, and they would send out like a Black Hawk helicopter to help lift some of the heavy jackets, and it was just a training mission for them, you know? They loved it. Like going to a remote location, lifting something they don't know how heavy it is, so they've got to like account for that, and you know, it was excellent training for them, I'm sure. And then they got to go home at the end of the day and tell their kids, like, yeah, hey, I lifted a dinosaur with my helicopter today. But yeah, unfortunately, I've heard that in Utah, that's now illegal. So apparently there was some sort of thing where, I don't know, maybe we'll have Jim tell the story later in July, because he knows it better than I do. I should look this up. Maybe you can look it up right now, chat. But like they were doing some repairs to the Utah State Capitol building or something. And so they called in like the Utah Air National Guard to help. And yeah, like private helicopter companies got really mad, and they're like, you can't do that for free, you need to pay us to do it. Like, you're taking food out of our children's mouths or whatever. And so they like passed a bill, made it a law where you can't have the military help out with stuff like that for free. You have to go to a private contractor and spend tens of thousands of dollars. So like, we're out of luck in Utah, I guess. No helicopters for us, because we don't have that kind of money. We barely have enough money for food, which you'll probably see when we're out there in Utah. So yeah, anyway, there's the free market for you. There you go, Jim. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. There you go, Wildling agreed. Yes. Choppy says, I hope we find out who murdered this dinosaur. There is a non-zero chance we could figure that out. If we found, like, bite marks in the skull from, like, a meat-eating dinosaur, that would be a clue. But the thing is, you can tell who may have bitten a dinosaur, but it's really difficult to tell, like, who would have killed a particular dinosaur. Let me explain why. If you've got, you know, like a skull of a duckbill dinosaur like this and you find bite marks on it, then you don't know if those bite marks happened before or after the animal was dead. Like, it could be that it died from natural causes not involving a tyrannosaur. And then a tyrannosaur just came over later and is like, oh, a dead hadrosaur. I'll have a bit of that, you know? It just goes and pulls it apart and eats it. You can't tell if the tyrannosaur actually killed it or not based on those bite marks. You can only tell that the bite marks happened during an animal's life while it was alive if the bite marks are healed, because that showed that the dinosaur survived, and like if it has evidence of healing there. And clearly, you know, you're not going to start healing while you're being killed by a tyrannosaur. It's too quick. Does that make sense? Yeah. That's why it's often really difficult to find direct evidence of predation in dinosaurs, because, yeah, unless you have evidence of the animal healing, then you don't know if the wounds occurred while it was alive or while it was already dead. Does that make sense? Yeah. But yeah. Frozen Yak says, does GPR, ground penetrating radar, help find dinosaur bones? No, it's just more rock and another pile of rock, Frozen Jack. I'm glad that you answered your own question there. I get that question so often, but that was insightful from you. Yeah. So it is rock inside of more rock. Dinosaur fossils like this are, they're largely turned to stone. That's what fossilization is. A lot of the original organic components of the bone get replaced by minerals from the surrounding rock and from the groundwater. So yeah. And SB says, how did this particular fossil get found? A crew member was out prospecting and just found a bunch of pieces of skull bone at the top of this ridge. And then they decided to dig in. They found out where the bone was coming out of, and then, yeah. So somebody was out prospecting. A member of this, of a previous crew, led by Ethan in 2021, I think, 2 years ago. So yeah, that's how we end up finding most dinosaurs, is like we'll go out prospecting for them. Occasionally a local finds them and tells you about them, but in an area like this, the locals don't know that there are dinosaurs here. And so yeah, nobody's out looking for them. So we've got to go out and look ourselves, which is not altogether a bad thing. It means you don't have sites getting vandalized if nobody knows that they're here. Perceptor, I am familiar with Harley Garbani. I've never met him, but legendary figure in North American dinosaur prospecting. You were a guest at his house? Hey, let me scroll down. LA Times wrote articles about him. I was a guest at his house. He gave me 3 cool bones. Very neat. Perceptor, that's awesome. Oh, I've got a beetle on my hand. Hey, little beetle. What are you up to? You having a good day out here in Wyoming? There are 416 people watching you right now, little beetle. Yeah, oh, he's excited now. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, Harley Garbani. Yeah, he was, I think, employed as a plumber. Like a tradesman. And not a professional paleontologist, but he made some of the most important fossil discoveries that now are in the Los Angeles County Museum of Natural History in Los Angeles, and the University of California Museum of Paleontology in Berkeley. He found some of those really, really important dinosaur fossils. I think at one time he also held the record for the greatest number of T-Rex specimens found by one person. And then I think Jack Horner surpassed him at some point in the 90s. But yeah. Beatles 5 minutes of fame. There you go, Nell. Yeah. Steely dances every time I hear prospecting. I think of a crazy old coot panning the river for dinosaur bones. Yeah. There's dinosaurs in them there hills. I guess I would turn the hat sideways for that, right? Yeah, I tell you, there's dinosaurs out there in Wyoming. Yeah, here, have a tooth. Yeah. Anyway, prospecting is just our word for when we go out and look for fossils. We're trying to find new sites. Basically, you walk along. Oh, like they're doing over there. Yeah. Because I think, Logan and Elena are out looking for new sites currently. So basically, you just walk along, you look at the ground, you look for any bits of bone that might be sticking out, weathering out on the surface. So yeah. Them there terrible lizards. Pseudomemes, yeah. Yeah, good stuff. So anyway, with any luck, they'll find some bone coming out and they'll be able to follow it in, and that might lead us to a new site, which would be really awesome. That's how this site was found in the first place. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. That's how it goes, Dinosaur Dave. Yep. Yeah. Oh, and somebody asked how dinosaur fossils end up so close to the surface. It's erosion. Yeah. So that's the thing. You've got to find rocks of the right age and the right type in an area where a lot of them are exposed like this. There's a lot of erosion happening. This rock is being actively broken down by the wind and the rain and the freezing and thawing during the winter. And plant roots, they're doing their darndest to turn this rock into soil so they can absorb the nutrients. All of this stuff breaks down the rock, and it gets washed downhill, and as that's happening, bits of dinosaur bone that are in there are getting broken up and washed downhill. And if you can find those and follow them up to where they're coming out, then you can happen upon an associated skeleton. So that's prospecting. You go out and you look for bits of bone that are they're on the surface. A lot of people kind of assume that like paleontologists just go and dig a random hole somewhere and hope to find fossils, and that's not how it works. You will not have a lot of luck doing that. You let erosion do the first part of the digging for you, and then you've got to use your sharp eyes and your sharp mind to be able to see and then identify bone there on the surface. That's how it works. Man, those clouds are looking a little ominous. There's a chance we could get rained out today. Also, this means that my solar panel is not working super well right now, and we might end up with a drained battery here. The Starlink might go out at some point. But yeah. How could we tell the difference between rock and bone? I mean, yeah, it's through experience, just like Thela was saying. Yeah. And more rain, more erosion. Yeah, Zwiesgond. I just hope it wouldn't happen while we're here, you know? Let the erosion happen not during the summer. Yeah. And Perceptor wants to know if Stegosaurus was in this area. In this area, yes, but not during this time. What you gotta remember is that the age of dinosaurs was super, super long. So dinosaurs first evolved here on Earth about 235 million years ago, and then they go extinct, except for birds, 66 million years ago. So they're around for like 175 million years. Long time. And so during that time, dinosaurs are constantly evolving, new groups are splitting off, new species arise, and other ones go extinct. And so stegosaurs are one of those. Stegosaurs show up in like the early Jurassic period, but by this time, in the late Cretaceous, they're already gone. Stegosaurs are completely extinct around the world. And we're still not sure why. There's a lot of groups that just kind of blink out of existence in the middle Cretaceous. Stegosaurs are one of them. Stegosaurs, Spinosaurs, a lot of the North American sauropods. It's still a mystery what happened to them. But yeah, the age of dinosaurs was, big cast of characters constantly changing. Dinosaurs do not stay the same. I think a lot of people get the impression from popular culture that, like, oh, there's the age of dinosaurs when all of the dinosaurs lived. And it's like you're just dumping out a bucket of plastic toys where, T-Rex and Brontosaurus and Coelophysis and Plateosaurus and Triceratops and Velociraptor all at the same time in the same place. And that's not at all how it happened. Dinosaurs were around for 170 million years, constantly changing. New groups evolving in new places, migrating into new areas. Other groups go extinct for whatever reason, and there's just this constant churn. And so that's one of the reasons why all the dinosaurs that we find here in the Almond Formation are almost certainly going to be new, is because you have that constant churning happen. The dinosaurs do not stay the same. Old groups are going extinct, new groups are evolving. One species evolves over time into another species, or it splits into two species. Yeah. It's pretty wild and interesting stuff. And there's so much left to figure out. And that's so exciting to be here at the forefront of that, New frontier. Yeah. So yeah. And Ninplayer, I don't think they were abducted by outer space aliens. They seem to be in decline for a while. Stegosaurs just kind of become less common after the dawn of the Cretaceous period, and then they completely die out by like the middle Cretaceous. I think the youngest stegosaur that we have, the youngest member of this group, Stegosauria, I think it's from like the mid-Cretaceous or the end of the early Cretaceous in Mongolia. Denver Fowler told me about it. He helped dig it up. Yeah. This vet says it's super thunderstorms due north of you. 600 kilometers off, so keep an eye out. Well, yeah, I mean, the storms are moving north anyway, so I don't think that's going to hit us. But this thing might. We'll see. Now would probably be a good time for me to eat lunch, actually, so let me go do that. Yeah. And no one talks about Coelophysis outside New Mexico, so I'm happy to hear it here. Galara Dragon. We happen to have a Coelophysis appreciator here in camp. Oh, you think that's going to hit us? You want to make that jacket?
It may, so I just want to get it.
Yeah. Let me know if you want another set of hands.
Okay.
Fisher, we have somebody in chat who's really excited to hear the name Coelophysis.
Really?
And it's your favorite dinosaur, right?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't think about dinosaurs nearly as much
Yeah.
as these people.
Fisher's a mammal guy.
Yeah.
But I remember when we were talking about favorite dinosaurs, you did shout out Coelophysis.
I mean, I don't know. It's just reflexive. Like, oh, yeah, it's a Triassic thing.
It lived alongside Dicynodonts.
Yeah.
It's cool by association, I guess. Yeah. Fisher really likes Dicynodonts. Do we have any Dicynodont appreciators in the chat? But yeah.
Eric, you want to go find? Do you know what direction they went?
Oh, they went off over there.
Okay. You want to just run 100 yards, and if you don't see them, come back. But if you see them, say, just be mindful of the weather.
No.
Thanks.
You guys think you're good with 3 people, or you want another set of hands for the jacket?
Well, it'd be nice to have someone to get the stuff ready, and then we could do the actual,
Sure, yeah. Let me do that. Yeah, let's do some kitchen prep. But for jacketing. Find a place to put all this junk.
We'll change it in a bit.
Here, let me set this down for a minute. Yeah. There we are. Do we have a trash bag for all the garbage in here?
Garbage what? Yeah.
Or I could put it into a bucket, maybe?
Okay, yeah, that'd be good. In the orange bucket?
Yeah. I've got a burlap sack in my bag that we could throw it inside.
Okay, that'd be great. Although we'd probably have to use that.
Yeah. There's like bubble wrap and stuff in that bucket. Oh, is that already a trash bucket?
It's like 2/3 trash, but we're not gonna throw it away. We're just gonna we'll check it out before we do. But
Cool.
okay. Any other container?
I can grab that burlap sack.
How about that? Is there a trash bag up there, or is that just a tarp?
That's a tarp.
Burlap sack for 3?
Yeah, let me get it.
Thanks, dude. Okay, guys. I'm gonna get all this debris out of my trench. Quinn, if you want to do the same for the side you've made.
Yes.
Go. Clean out this basin so we get nice clean plaster. And yeah, using stone tools like a proper hominid here. This is always kind of tricky because you've got to be able to break the plaster without breaking the plastic. So, restrained force is the name of the game. The Bex person says, I absolutely love watching primitive technology on YouTube, so this is perfect. Yeah, stone tools.
That bone there, though, that I sort of enjoy holding on. Oh, no, it doesn't. Oh, it really does.
And some water. Yeah. And we've got separator.
Did not want to move that.
Oh, Astro Canuck, it's good to have you here. Welcome, welcome. They say, how often is plaster needed at the end of every session? So every time we want to jacket a fossil, we have to have plaster. Plaster and burlap and water and separator, which is for us usually paper towels.
That'd be great.
So you do the top of a fossil, and then you trench around it. Sometimes you do a side strip, which would be a second plastering session, and then you flip it over, and then you have to do the bottom. So it can be as many as 3, or even more. Oh, and we got a big old cricket here. Hey, cricket friend. That one's missing one of its hind legs. Shoot.
I can help you with that.
I think these guys bite, so I don't necessarily want to pick it up. But...
You got another knife by chance? These.
Well, let's see. There.
They work.
Ah.
You used this knife last time and it worked.
Yeah, let me pick this up again. There we are.
No, that one works pretty well.
Does it though?
Yeah.
Yeah. And is it a cricket or a Mormon cricket? I'm not sure, Gojira. I'm not well versed enough in my cricket phylogeny. But yeah. But yeah, right now the guys are working on cutting some strips of burlap. That'll form the backbone of our plaster jacket. Oh, and there's our cricket. Yeah, who is this? I don't know if that's a true cricket or a katydid or what. But very cool, whoever it is. And a hardy fellow, missing one of those big hind legs. Still managing to get around. Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah. Here, let me go get some water and I'll check on how our battery is doing too. So the solar panel is not having much opportunity to do its job right now. Yeah. Oh, and the router fell over. That's not good. Lucky we're still online. Oof. Yowza. And we're at 19%. Shoot. We are going to run out. I was hoping to do 2 streams today. I don't know if that's going to happen at this point. Unless we maybe do a camp stream tonight. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. 19%, especially when we started at like 50% today almost. With the solar panel plugged in, and it's just, we're not running a profit here energy-wise. Yeah. Yeah. Great Sag says, any old men ask you to come to their special island yet? That's stranger danger, Great Sag. Stranger danger. Unless they're played by Richard Attenborough, in which case, he seems like a trustworthy guy. But no. Yeah. Nuclear Fiasco says turn the fridge off. I wish we had a fridge out here. Shoot. But no, we do not. Yeah, here, let me drink some water. And then I'll have some lunch. Because, yeah, those storm clouds might hit us. They might drift to the west of us and north, or they might head straight for us. Yeah. And if you want people to raid, that's a great question. Yeah, Dinosaur Dave, I don't know. Yeah. I don't normally stream this early on a Wednesday. Dave Nevius says, I think a 1 square meter panel could power a mini fridge. I don't know. This is less than 1 square meter, but it really struggles to power the Starlink sometimes. At least when it's cloudy. You're only getting 11 watts in and 47 watts out. So this thing's being kind of a power hog right now. Yeah. And hey, welcome Raiders from Communist TV. Welcome to Paleontologizing. It's good to have you here. I'll do a little station break. My name is Danny Anduza. This channel is called Paleontologizing because that's what we do here. Doing some paleontology. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist, which means I work on dinosaurs, and we're here digging up a dinosaur right over there. What will probably be a new species of duckbill dinosaur. We've got its skull over there, and the crew is getting ready to put a protective plaster jacket over it, over one of the dentaries, one of the lower jaw bones, which is a really important part of the animal. So exciting stuff. Out here in the remote desert of western Wyoming, broadcasting to you live via satellite right now. That satellite dish is just eating through our solar power. We're at just 19%. So, shoot. Yeah. But yeah. I'm gonna eat some lunch, I think, right now. Because I'm getting hungry. And it's almost 1:30. So let's do that. Yeah. Set the camera down over here. And if anybody's got any questions, don't hesitate to ask them. Let's go ahead and put this like this. Maybe you can see me and the crew at the same time. That's the idea. Try and get the camera prevent it from falling over. That's better. Nice. Yeah, what's on the lunch menu today? Peanut butter sandwiches. SG Rock wants to know, how do we protect the site between visits? We've got a big vinyl tarp that we put over it, and we weigh it down with rocks. That protects it from rain and stuff, to a certain extent. The way to really protect the different individual bones is to put a jacket over them, which is what we're getting ready to do right now. So yeah. But yeah. And yep, Nikki, I'm using Starlink right now. That's the idea. I just showed that off a second ago. There's our dish. Right there. It works most of the time. I don't know. I've had really bad experiences with Starlink in the past, so I'm really glad it's working right now, because holy cow, did it not work in the past 2 years. Yeah. Zintas wants to know if there would be more possible digs out there. There are. We've got other sites out there. Yeah. This whole area, we've got a bunch of different dinosaur sites. And this is one of the most promising ones. That's why we're focusing on this right now. Yeah. Forever Mash says, how far do you have to travel to your vehicle / a nearby town? So our vehicle's probably about a half-mile away down the hill. Nearest town, it depends which one. We're kind of near the town of Green River, Wyoming. But we've got little bits of civilization here and there. Yeah. We're actually not that far, I guess, from some parts of civilization right now, which is kind of nice. Ethan's going to have to drive the truck in to get a tire fixed later today. So it's a good thing that that's not too far. Yeah. And Bad Larry wants to know, how do you identify potential sites? We find new sites by prospecting for them. So you walk along, you stare at the ground, you look for bits of bone that are eroding out on the surface, and yeah, hopefully you can find out where those bits of bone are coming out of, and then yeah, that'll lead you to like an associated skeleton, like it did here. Or a skull, at least. We don't have the rest of the skeleton, just the skull. But the skull is the part that you want, so that's great. Yeah. But yeah. And Perceptor says, I saw an article last night that stated that man and dinosaurs coexisted. I mean, we do. We got birds. But they probably weren't talking about birds, were they? Was this in the Daily Mail, UK? That rag? Ugh. Yeah, I saw that too on Twitter. Downright embarrassing. How do those people still have jobs? That's nuts. Yeah. Anywho. And do you work when it's raining? We try not to, Kira, but today we might have to. Because it is time crunch today. It looks like we might have rain soon. Yeah. You're welcome, Kira. Thanks for the good question. Yeah. Yeah, we might have to work in the rain today. I'm letting Ethan run things over there right now because this is his site. And we've only got one vehicle at the moment. Normally we'd spread all the crew out to different sites, but we're kind of bottlenecked here, which is why I'm doing a stream. So yeah. And those the Uinta Mountains? No, those are down in Utah, Eternal. We're in Wyoming right now, so those would not be the Uintas. Yeah. Uintas are south of us here. And Abnoctus says, thanks for streaming this. Thanks for watching. I appreciate that. And Big Bad Eric says, are you planning on streaming between this dig and the next one in Utah? I'm planning on it, but I can't guarantee that I will be. We'll have to see. Yeah. Depends on a lot of stuff. SB says, how are you guys funded? Almost entirely through donations from this community. I kid you not. We had a fundraiser on experiment.com. We needed about $7,000, and Twitch chat came through with $7,000. Believe it or not, that's how it happened. Pretty extraordinary. Yeah. Big Bad Eric says, by the time you get home, the office streams will feel like a novelty. Agreed. Yeah. Uh-oh. That was a raindrop. And Perceptor says, who had real air superiority in the prehistoric era? Well, prehistoric era, that's the past, what, 4.5 billion years? You'll have to be more specific. During the time of the dinosaurs, the biggest flying creatures were pterosaurs, also known as like pterodactyls. Yeah. I guess you could say they ruled the skies. They were not dinosaurs, by the way, but they're related. They're a group closely related to dinosaurs that are not dinosaurs. Pterosaurs. And then they go extinct at the same time as all the dinosaurs except for birds. Birds evolved in like the Middle Jurassic, probably. And, or maybe Late Jurassic. And, yeah, they were around the whole time, but pterosaurs were certainly much bigger than even the largest birds during the age of the dinosaurs. So I guess you could say the pterosaurs had air superiority. Yeah. They never developed air-to-air missiles or anything like that, though. Yeah. And the spread gets crusty so fast out here. It's nuts. It just dries it right out. Sloppy Salamander says, did the 2017 publication not confirm Brontosaurus is distinct from Apatosaurus? It depends on who you ask. I'm not convinced. I don't know. But I don't really work on sauropods, so who really cares what I think? But, I don't know. If you follow Emmanuel Shop's stuff, almost every sauropod that's ever been dug up, almost every individual specimen would have to be a new species. And I don't buy that for a second. I think a great deal of that is stratigraphic and ontogenetic change. So yeah, I don't know. A lot of people really, really badly want to bring Brontosaurus back, and I don't know. It is a great name, but I think that ship has sailed. I think it's the same thing as Apatosaurus. If we're being reasonable about, lumping versus splitting. But again, I don't work on these things, so who cares what I think? And Flux Bugs, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Sorry, my mouth is full of peanut butter sandwich. But we're at like 7,500 feet, or maybe higher here, above sea level. So like, yeah, well over 2,000 meters. Pretty high up. This is the high desert of Wyoming. And someone said I'm still not convinced that Pluto isn't a planet. Oh, Perceptor. I mean, that's all arbitrary. Like, what do you consider a planet and what do you not? And most astronomers don't consider it to be a planet because it's too small, it doesn't clear its orbit, it's not perfectly spherical, all that other stuff. If you make Pluto a planet, there are bigger objects than Pluto that are out there. They would all have to be planets too. So, yeah, but at the end of the day, it's arbitrary whether or not you call it a planet, Whereas Brontosaurus versus Apatosaurus, the question is, are they the same dinosaur? Are they the same genus? I think they are. That's just kind of my instinct in general. It's like, we would not expect dinosaur diversity to be nearly as high as that of modern mammals for a number of different reasons. So yeah, them being distinct would be surprising to me. But it could happen, Yeah, I'm just not convinced yet. But again, who cares what I think? I don't even work on sauropods. Yeah. And Perceptor, no, I eat the crust from the sandwiches. Yeah. And Frozen Yak says, there were stories a few years ago about warm-blooded dinosaurs in Alaska. Has this been confirmed yet? Yes. And would they be mammals? No. That's a really good question, and I'm glad you asked it. So, this gets into, like, how badly biology is taught in schools, even today. So, dinosaurs are not mammals, and it's because they evolved from a different group of animals. The whole classification system that you learned in school is wrong. It's like mammals are warm-blooded and they don't lay eggs, and they feed their young with milk. Reptiles are cold-blooded and they do lay eggs. Wrong. Wrong. I mean, those things are often true, but that's not why they're mammals, or that's not why they're reptiles. And there are exceptions to all of those rules. There are a lot of reptiles that give birth to live young. They don't lay eggs. They're viviparous, so their young are born, outside of an egg. Just like with mammals. You have reptiles that are warm-blooded. You have mammals that are cold-blooded. You have mammals that lay eggs, like the platypus and the echidna. It doesn't mean that they're not mammals. It just means that they do different things because they belong to a different clade. The way that we as scientists actually classify living things is based on who they evolved from. Phylogeny. The evolutionary family tree. The great tree of life. That's how we classify things. It's based on who they evolved from. So, like, what is a dinosaur? Dinosaurs evolved from a dinosaur ancestor, and everything that evolved from that ancestor Everything that sprang from that is a dinosaur by definition. It doesn't matter if they're warm or cold-blooded, if they laid eggs or not, or if they look like a dinosaur, what you expect a dinosaur to look like or whatever. If it evolved from that ancestor, it is a dinosaur. That's how it works. You know, classification, living things are related through evolution, you know? So that's how we should classify them. That's how scientists do classify them. So yeah, we think that most dinosaurs would have been warm-blooded. Modern birds are all warm-blooded. And, yeah, we know that birds evolved from dinosaurs. That's why birds are dinosaurs. Yeah. And, yeah. All dinosaurs laid eggs, though. We don't have any evidence that any dinosaurs gave birth to live young. Even if they did, even if you had dinosaurs that didn't lay eggs, that wouldn't make them mammals or anything. Mammals are way on the other side of the tree of life. Or on the other side of amniotes, at least. So mammals and dinosaurs have not had a common ancestor since, like, the Carboniferous period. Like 350 million years ago or something like that? So yeah, there's like a solid 200, or if you count it, if you double it, because it's like they're each evolving from the same point. There's 400 million years of difference between dinosaurs and mammals. Like they've been separate for a combined 400 million years. Because they've each been going their separate ways for about 200 million years. Does that make sense? Yeah. And yeah, exactly, Tommy Plotticus. If you classed organisms by their characteristics, convergent evolution would make things messy. Yeah. Whales would be considered fishes. Which, strictly speaking, we're not going to get into that. I'm not going to confuse you about Sarcopterygians and stuff. But anyway, yeah. So yeah. And now, nope, it is the Carboniferous. Yeah. You've been lied to about the Permian. Fisher could tell you all about that. Those mammal-like reptiles from the Permian, not reptiles and have never been reptiles. Dimetrodon is not a reptile and has never been a reptile. It's a stem mammal. It's like a proto-mammal. So yeah. Yeah. I've discussed the whale shark. The whale shark isn't a whale. It's a shark. It's a chondrichthyan fish. So yeah. They're reciting the different epics of the Cenozoic there. That's funny. But yeah. Fall Machine says it is always going to be messy putting organisms into boxes to a certain extent. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, I'm going to have to help out with that, and we are running low on power, so I am going to go ahead and wrap up this stream. Cross your fingers that we do not get rained on here. We don't get just completely obliterated by this storm. Cross your fingers that we have nice sunny skies later, so we can charge our solar battery and continue to run our Starlink there. Maybe I could do a stream this afternoon or this evening. But yeah, for the time being, I am going to wrap this up. So let's see who else is on Twitch right now, and we can go raid into them. Yeah. There. And let's see. Oh, let's go to Miekii, Mikey. Let's raid into him. Because he's doing some IRL stuff. Miekii. Let's see, go to my channel, go to chat, and raid Miekii. There you go. Excellent. Well, thank you everybody for another excellent time here. Really enjoyed talking to all of you. You know, answering your questions and showing off our dinosaur dig here. The plastering is about to commence, and I'm going to go help out with that before our battery completely dies on us, too. So, yeah. I hope to be streaming tomorrow. Tomorrow might be my last... will be, I think, my last stream from the field until mid-July. I might do a couple of streams in between there, but there's going to be a bit of a hiatus, everybody. Yeah. Don't count on another stream today. I don't know if we're going to get enough sunlight in order to be able to run the battery. So I hope to see you tomorrow for another stream. Until then, everybody, you take care of yourselves, and thank you for everything. Your viewership, your questions, your enthusiasm, and your financial support. I really appreciate that. Wouldn't be here without it. So thank you for keeping this stream going. Thank you for funding us here on this dig. So without further ado, let's go ahead and raid into Mikey, and I'll see you there, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.